Well, surprise surprise, the quote-unquote big update released last night and I'm actually early with a video. Damn, something must be wrong. Jokes aside though, this update may not be exactly what players were hoping for, me included. As always though, the timestamps are in the description and below, so if you're looking for something specific, feel free to skip ahead. And now without any further delays, let's dive into today's update. Starting off with the start of Premiere Season 2, which means we receive a commemorative badge for Season 1. This one isn't just simply a badge, as it includes some really nice detailed statistics regarding how you played during this first season. Honestly, in my opinion, the Statistic page is really nice and I would genuinely like to see something like it as part of the base game. Basically similar to how we used to have CS365 or whatever it was called, but maybe not as a monthly subscription valve. Anyways, with the start of the new season, you will need to get once again 10 wins to get ranked, which basically concludes all of the changes Valve has made to Premiere. Well, of course they also removed Vertigo and replaced it with Train, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows this by now. Moving on to the gameplay changes, and here we received some pretty significant changes, at least more significant than basically with the rest of the update. The price of the M4A4 has been reduced to $2,900, which we already were aware of, and the Famas has received its accuracy improvements as well as a price cut down to $1950. Damn. As I've mentioned, the Famas has not only received a change for its price, but also for its accuracy, in this case while standing and crouching. For today's video, I've decided to change how I compare to videos or images, so hopefully this is a bit more intuitive and much easier to understand visually. Feel free to leave some feedback in the comments down below. So let's take a look at the Famas spray from before and after the update, and we can see that in comparison to before, the bullets are much closer grouped together, which is really nice. The spray also appears to be much smoother in comparison to before, and in general I think the first bullets are also closer grouped together, so this is just a really good change in my opinion. It's not as drastic of a change as I was kind of expecting, but I feel like Valve struck a really nice balance with these changes, as it doesn't seem to make the weapon too overpowered, at least right now. And here we have another direct comparison from before and after the update, which hopefully helps to visualize this change a bit better. Before the update, and then after the update. Before, and after. Furthermore, Valve decided to nerf some of the SMGs when crouching, which isn't too surprising, at least for the MP9. But of course it didn't just stay with the MP9, in general the MPs have suffered. This includes, as I've mentioned, the MP9, the MP7, as well as the MP5 SD, which we will now compare. However, one thing I would like to mention beforehand. I think these changes Valve has made were more so targeted at longer distance gunfights, which I did not test yet, so we may only see some smaller changes for these weapons right now. But I will make sure to make a more in-depth video as soon as possible, so stay tuned for that one. Let's start with the comparison for the MP9 from before and after the update. So what can we see here? In my opinion, we can see only some slight changes. I would say towards the end of the spray, the spread is much more different in comparison to before. Not only does it no longer curve downwards, it kind of curves upwards, but the bullets are also much further spread apart and less grouped together, as we can see right here, specifically in these areas. However, the spread at the beginning seems actually relatively the same. But please keep in mind that this is only at a very short distance, in this case in Pit on Inferno. Take this into consideration. I would assume that on longer distances this is a much more drastic change in comparison to before. And here we have a more direct look at the spread from before the update, and then of course after the update. Before and after. Anyways, moving on to the MP7, where we can once again see much more spread towards the beginning of the spray as well as towards the middle, which is certainly quite interesting. We can also see that the bullets are much less grouped together in comparison to before, but towards the end of the spray it actually doesn't seem too bad right here, so maybe they only changed it towards the middle and towards the beginning of it. Here we have the spray before the update, and this is how it looks like after the update. Before and after. Last but certainly not least, we have the MP5 SD from before and after the update. And once again we can see a very similar change as we've seen for the other weapons. The grouping towards the beginning of the spray is much more random, and we can also see that in general the bullets are less grouped together and further spread apart. Also towards the end we can see a very similar situation. Here we have it from before the update, and then after the update. Before and after. So yeah, hopefully this new way of showcasing these differences was intuitive, and hopefully it also made it much easier to see these smaller changes Valve has made. Lastly, for the gameplay changes, Valve adjusted the scopes for the AUG and the SG. The main change here is that Valve added back the tint to the scope glass and also added some glow around the dot to help with visibility on longer ranges, which is good to see. However, as per usual with new features, this one is a bit wonky and slightly bugged, especially when walking. Valve, please fix. For the user interface, we received a couple of changes as well. A new dynamic zoom option has been added for the radar, which seems quite cool in my opinion. This one will grow or shrink the radar to include teammates, the bomb, and other detected elements. Valve also adjusted the grenade order in the spectator user interface to match the weapon selection order, which I have genuinely no clue what they're referring to with, as initially I thought they changed the order of the grenade icons, but this wasn't actually the case. And lastly, they increased the brightness of the C4 icon, which apparently means that it no longer uses the same color as the rest of your HUD elements. Once again, Valve, please fix. Anyways, onto the map changes, this time only for train, where Valve fixed the boosting angle from long dock to bomb site A. In this case, they've basically adjusted the height of this crate stack, which is certainly quite interesting. And alongside with this, they fixed some lighting artifacts on double-sided materials. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about the miscellaneous changes. An exploit with the R8 has been patched, which allowed players to refund it despite shooting with the secondary fire button, which is pretty hilarious. Counter-Strafe summaries are now available in the game server log, as well as the devs adding a new fallback logic, which should allow players to play incomplete demo files. And that already concludes the big Season 2 update for Counter-Strike 2. Not even Flying Scouts, man. Feels sad, man. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, and I will see you of course in the next one. Hopefully this one was enjoyable to watch and informative. As always, of course, that's kind of the goal with these videos. See you next time.